I'm Alan Solomon, and in today's lesson I want to ask you something which sounds quite trivial. What is melody? Have you ever thought about that? I would imagine that most of you would answer that melody is a sequence of sounds in a certain rhythm. But I want to show you something. Listen to this melody which you all know. The pitches, the notes are C, D, E, C, E, C, E. Okay? Now listen to this. It's the same melody, right? But the notes have totally changed. Now it's G, A, B, G, B, G, B. So the definition of melody as a sequence of sounds is not accurate, because here the sounds, the pitches have totally changed and still it's the same melody. It sounds slightly different, but you can still recognize it as the same melody. What have I preserved when I played this, which is identical to this? It's surely not the sounds themselves, it's not the pitches. I've conserved something else. I have conserved the intervals between the notes. So a more accurate definition of melody is a sequence of intervals between subsequent notes in a certain rhythm. And this overwhelming discovery leads us to understand that music is much more the relations between notes and pitches rather than the pitches themselves. It's what goes on between the notes, between the lines, and not the notes themselves so much. But it also means that a very, very important part of learning music is learning intervals. And that's the subject of our next lessons in this series. So I want to give names and recognize the interval between two sounds, between two pitches, between two notes, and also have to understand how to construct, to build intervals starting from each sound that exists. So let's begin. So let's say I want to measure first the distance between the note F and the note A. What is the distance, the musical distance between F and A? So, in order to do that, I really recommend learning two different and completely separate methods of measurement between two notes and then combining them together. So the first method is names, the names of the notes. I count the names of notes, as we remember, as I keep writing here. The names of the pitches are 7 English letters. So I count letters or names of notes between F and A. So for example, if indeed one note is F and the other is A, I count F, G, A. That's 3 steps. So this will be called a 3 or a third interval. Okay? Another example, if I want to measure the distance between the A and a D which is above it. So let's see, that's the A and that's the D. I count 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a fourth. That's called a fourth. Notice that this is somewhat unscientific, because if we have two dots in space, one is called A and the other is B, and I want to measure the distance between them, I take a ruler and I put the 0 on one point and then I count units until the other dot, the other point, say 10 centimeters. But in this system, I count the first dot also. It's as if I put the ruler here. So in the end, that would be something like 11, the same distance. I count also the note that I am standing on. So let's now see if I go down. It's the same principle from D to G. What is the interval? So let's see. We have D and C and B and A and G. D, C, B, A, G. So that's 5 now. So that's a fifth. Notice also that I ignore totally the accidentals. It doesn't matter to me whether this is a G flat or a G sharp or a normal G, and that's a D flat or normal or double flat, which there is also something like that in theory of music. I just count the names of the notes from one to the other. So that's what I do in order to recognize and determine which interval is in front of me. Now, the second job is to build intervals, as I said. So say I want to build a fourth from the note G, going upwards. My task is to build a fourth going upwards. Which note that will be? So, very simple. This is a G, okay? So, I count from G5 going upwards. I said 4. So, I count 4 from G upwards. G, A, B, C. So, the answer is a C. Okay? So, I've constructed a fourth from above the note G. So, say I want to construct now a sixth going down from the note C. So I take C, C, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I come to E. C, B, A, G, F, E. So that's 6 notes. So a sixth below C is an E. Okay, another thing which is quite important, that is used also in English-speaking countries, the 8th interval. Actually, all of them have Italian names, which, as I already said, in Latin-related languages, those names are used. Not only the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, also the intervals, which is prima, secunda, that's the first and the second, and the third is called the terza. But the eighth is a common term also in English-speaking countries, and it's called an octave. The eighth is called an octave. And that comes from 8, like octopus, which has 8 tentacles. So what have we learned today? We have learned what is the definition of melody, and that's a sequence of intervals and not a sequence of notes. And through that we understood the importance of learning about intervals, and we learned how to recognize which interval is in front of us, and also how to construct intervals in the first method, which has to do with the names of the notes between the two notes. In the next lesson we will learn of a different method which brings totally different results, and as I said, at the end we are going to unite them into one system. So hope you enjoyed it, and of course I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So bye for now.